We have Hardy on Pure Country. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great. I just got back from a 2 week, I guess you'd call it a sabbatical. I take 2 weeks to go back home to Mississippi and deer hunt and just truly, it sounds artsy fartsy, but sort of reconnect with, my where I come from and all that. And it's a really good recharge for the year. And so I just got back last night from that and I feel great.
That's awesome. I feel like more people need to carve that time out for themselves because often
Yeah.
we get so caught up in everything and we don't like just take a step back for a minute.
Yeah, it's important. And shout out to Callie. She, we just got married. So I've gotta, I can't just go and do like I always wanted to, but she knows how important it is to me. So she lets me go down there as well.
That's awesome. It's always important to find a really good woman in your life. Just
That's
saying.
right.
So new album, The Mockingbird and the Crow out. I am so pumped about this record for you. I've never seen anyone like fully do a here's two sides to me record and make it melt so well together. How much fun was this record making as opposed to records you've made in the past?
It was the best one so far, especially, the countryside is fun as well, but the rock side was cool because it was like different. And, our thing was like, let's make it as heavy and as intense as possible, for what we have to work with and for what we have to work with within the song. And so the musicians were super pumped because I know they don't get to do that type of thing every single day and every time they play. And it was just a fun process. And it was real, like sitting in there kind of writing guitar parts and playing that to Derek Wells and being like, hey, can you play this over that part and stuff? I mean, it felt like we were making a rock record. So it was really fun, especially the rock side.
So cool. And Derek Wells is insanely
Yes.
talented. So someone said to me in an interview the other day, I asked them, an artist that's really inspiring them, and they said you. And they said the reason why was because you've done this so well where you've just carved out your path and you've done it so unapologetically where you're like, this is who I am, take it or leave it, and never tried to like, you know, play the game where you're trying to sound like something or be something. Has that been as a songwriter also like freeing for you to go when you go into a write, you're like, hey, I know I'm writing Hardy today, or I can
Yeah.
shut it off and write for someone else.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely do that, but I do love when it's, like I'll give you a good example. Hunter Phelps threw out the idea for Drink One for me, and he was like, I have this idea. He was like, there's two ways to write it. One, like you got this new girl and y'all are kicking it at the house and your boys are trying to get you to come to the bar, but you're like, I'm in love now, so y'all drink one for me. But he was like, you could also write it where a dude is dead. And I was like, stop right there. That's the way that we're doing it. And I feel like when I'm writing for myself, I tend to want to, and it's more fun and more freeing to go for the more intense idea or the more, the intense or harder or just heavier way to write a song. I love that. And I always want to do that. But, when you're writing for the radio, sometimes that's not the path that you should take. So you definitely have to turn it off sometimes. But for me, it's more freeing to definitely get weird for sure.
Yeah, which I think the coolest thing, because I am a fan of your music in such a big way, and I love songs like I Am Country, and then I literally will turn on Sold Out and I'm like, I love both versions. And that is really cool to see because I think so many artists probably wish that they could show maybe the other side to them that they would be tentative to do because they're like, oh, is everyone going to accept this? But you've done it in such a cool way where you're like, I am both of these guys.
Yeah. Um,
Cool.
yeah, I think this record really encapsulates that for anybody that had any gray area with who they thought that I was. And, hopefully in the future, now that I've sort of made this statement, future music and records could be more of like a blend of both, throughout. And this is just kind of the blanket statement of this is who I am and this is what I sound like. And I have two different sides, but who's to say that those can't be meshed together even more, in the future.
Yeah. And like you said about writing songs that, maybe are subjects that people wouldn't touch on. Obviously, Wait in the Truck with Lainey Wilson is one of those songs. I think when you release that, just the subject, matter of that song and the video was so important, but a lot of people don't go down that pathway. To hear that song on country radio, is that got to be like just so incredible to know that like that song is so special and important.
Yeah, and honestly, you know what's funny is I haven't heard it yet. I listen when I have a song out, I listen to the radio because I want to hear one time. Like I don't, I'm not stroking my ego waiting but I want to hear my song one time, on the radio. And for some reason I haven't heard it yet. It's just, and I'll get a text from somebody that's like, we heard the song today on the same station I'm listening to, and I haven't heard it yet. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, I don't really think about it, but there is times where I'm like, man, this song is definitely heavy. And I'm just thankful that, not only that I got to single it, but that radio is actually giving a shot, that it's actually working. And it is really cool to know that country radio and country music still exist, where a song like that can exist on the radio. That's really cool to me.
Yeah.
It gives me hope for not being afraid to be bold and to write those crazy things. If a song like that could work, I feel like a lot of other songs similar could work as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, I mean, such a cool collaboration with the two of you. I'm so glad that you and Lainey work together, because those are two voices that, collabs are fun that way, where you're like, I never would have thought to hear you guys sing on a song, especially a song like that.
Yeah. She killed it. She portrays that character so well. That I don't think anybody else in town could have done it like she did. I believe that she is the girl on the side of the road every time I hear her sing it. And she does too. I think that's important because that affects people when they believe it, then that they feel it more.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously got a song on there with two cool people, radio song with Jeremy McKinnon of the band A Day to Remember. Anyone hasn't listened to that yet, it like takes you on the wildest ride, because you're like, wait, it's rock, maybe it's kind of country, and then you're like, whoa, no, it's rock for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a play. It's like satire on your label or whoever saying like, you need a radio song, like, well, we got everything we need, but what about a radio song for this record? And it's and there's I'm not pointing fingers or judging or mad at anybody. I'm hoping that when people listen to it, they just have a sense of humor, you know what I mean? And that's all that we wanted to do at the end of the day, was make everybody kind of chuckle and be like, okay, we get it, you know what I mean?
I loved it. I thought it was incredible. Last thing, obviously a song on there with Morgan Wallen, Red, and going out on tour with him, One Night at a Time World Tour. What is it about the two of you that just works so well and makes you go, you know what, we're just going to keep making, I mean, I know you guys are really good friends, but you're like, we're going to tour and we're going to release music together.
We just, man, we're like brothers, and we truly, he's obviously he's ahead of me as an artist, but we like came up together, and he was his first number one was my first number one as a songwriter. And we have a lot of little moments like that. And he's been a big supporter of me, and we've been through a lot together, and just, we're always there for each other. And so we just kind of have a pact. We're like blood brothers, and we're going to tour together forever. We're going to put out music songs together. And it's just that camaraderie that we have. And Ernest too, he and I haven't done a song together yet, which that'll happen eventually. But the three of us we're really tight like that.
Well, I think fans are super happy about that. I don't think anyone is complaining that you guys are together. Congrats on the record, dude. It is so, so, so good. Hardy, the Mockingbird and the Crow. Make sure you guys go check it out. And thank you for joining me on Pure Country.